Hi, you're watching The Real Story. I'm Laurie Perez. As if the recent serious storms were not enough, now Connecticut residents are, politely said, angry upon hearing that some state workers may be involved in some fraud involving a food stamp program. More than $12 million in the food stamp program became available on an emergency relief basis to compensate people for damages from Tropical Storm Irene. 23,000 people applied. 800 of them were state employees, and now many of them are under investigation. Andrew McDonald is Governor Malloy's chief legal counsel. Thanks for being here, Andrew. And I guess the main question that we hear from people who are watching this all unfold is basically, how could this have happened?
Well, you know, this program is a federal program that is administered by the state only after the president has declared a natural disaster. This program was only implemented after Hurricane Katrina down in New Orleans. And the whole goal of the program is to rapidly provide resources to individuals who are in desperate need after a natural disaster. This is the first time Connecticut has ever participated in the program. And frankly, it's a program that by design is, as I said, intended to make sure that people who need that help most get it as quickly as possible.
But in the efforts to get it done as quickly as possible, obviously you want to make sure that it's done appropriately and the people who really actually need it get it.
Absolutely, and the governor was truly outraged when he was first notified last week that some individuals seem to have manipulated the program and used it for purposes that were never intended by the federal government. The fact is that anybody who has abused the public trust like that doesn't deserve the respect of anybody in Connecticut, and certainly will be subjected to very swift and certain discipline by the governor.
Which would include, if they're found to have done it, losing their job. So that's where we're at. That's the process. That's the step in the process where we are now at this point, right?
Right. It isn't. We have evidence that there could be substantial amounts of fraud, but we have to take each case on a case-by-case basis, and that's what we're doing. We're vigilantly and diligently reviewing all of the facts and circumstances of each of the potential cases, because we need to understand that we have to make decisions based on the facts, and that's what we're ascertaining now.
So when you say there could be a substantial amount, what is that? Can you put a number on that? Or?
Well, we already know that we have a substantial basis to believe that at least 15 individuals have received these benefits by fraudulent means, and those cases have been referred to the Office of Labor Relations to initiate disciplinary proceedings.
So beyond the disciplinary proceedings, meaning if they could lose their job, would there necessarily be criminal charges that would follow?
Well, that's not a decision for the governor to make, obviously, but we are in close contact with state and federal prosecutors. We are coordinating our investigations. They have their own independent investigations, and they have, frankly, some tools available to them that we, within the administration, don't have. So we are moving along parallel paths, but I fully anticipate that there will be criminal prosecutions as well.
So did these people already receive the money?
They did receive the money, and actually came in the form of essentially a debit card that would be that they could use at certain stores to buy food. But it was something that was rapidly deployed as a result of the guidelines by the federal government.
So would there be a way to rapidly get it back, to redistribute it to legitimate people who needed it?
Well, everybody who qualified legitimately did receive the benefits. So it's not as though this was a reallocation of those resources. But that really, that's, I guess, the upside. The downside is that we know that individuals received those benefits when they were not entitled to it, and it's frankly quite outrageous.
So some people have been calling for an independent investigation of this. Why is that not appropriate?
Well, in some ways, there is an independent investigation. The federal prosecutors and the state prosecutors are independently investigating this. The Department of Social Services has their anti-fraud unit, which is charged with the responsibility for detecting and uncovering and pushing on these types of investigations. And my office is directly involved, not beholden to the Commissioner of Social Services or anybody other than the governor. And the governor is determined to get to the bottom of this.
Can you give us an idea of what the investigation entails?
Well, we are assembling all of the information that we can get, not only from the applications that were provided by these individuals, but any other information that we can obtain to determine whether they would have met the eligibility requirements under the program.
How long would you anticipate that this kind of investigation would take?
As long as it takes. You know, we have already begun it, as you know, and as I indicated, the first 15 cases have been referred out, but we're not going to stop until we've reviewed every single case of state employees who participated, and I believe that the federal government and state prosecutors will undertake a review on a systematic basis of the remaining 22,000 cases.
We understand that the first 15 were people who were of pretty good compensation levels, and that somehow they were pointed out because of their income levels, or it was easier to find out that they might have been participating in this. If you could explain that.
Well, as the governor said in his press conference today, there are certain indications that people were pretty definitely over the income limits that would have otherwise allowed them to qualify for this program. So we're starting with those clear-cut cases first, and then we're going to continue on and get into some of the other cases as well. And
we're maybe putting the cart before the horse, but they're also, if they were to lose their job, would they also necessarily lose things like their pension?
Yeah, well, you know, that's not a decision, unfortunately, that we make. That would have to be a decision of a judge. Under Connecticut law, a public employee's pension can only be revoked as a result of a court order.
Right, right. All right, well, Andrew McDonald, thanks for being here. Disappointing story, but interesting nonetheless. Thanks for being here and explaining it all to us. Thanks. Coming up next, we are going to talk to Kevin Lembo. He is the state comptroller, and he wants to keep tabs on how tax credits are working here in the state.